To break up with me, Caleb faked amnesia. He asked, "Who are you?" I froze for a second, then smiled. "I'm your sister-in-law." Caleb was stunned. That night, his older brother, the very one who had been constantly urging us to break up, frantically texted me, "What the hell? When did you and I ever get together? Caleb is waiting outside my house with a knife right now." When I got to the hospital, Caleb was lying in bed. His head was wrapped in bandages, looking very convincing. He looked at me with confusion and bewilderment, asking, "Who are you?" I froze for a second, then smiled. I reached up and pulled my collar down slightly, revealing a red mark on my neck. "I'm your sister-in-law." The door to the hospital room was closed. His brother was waiting outside, waiting for me to break up with Caleb. When I received the news that Caleb had been hospitalized after a car accident, I was actually with his brother. Arthur looked at me with a half smile, waving a $5 million check in his hand. "Miss Sterling, no one can predict the future between you and Caleb, but your own future can take off from this moment on." Caleb and I had been dating for 2 years, and he had always kept his family background a secret. Until recently, when I was working a part-time job and bumped into him. He was out having fun with friends, staying in a presidential suite that cost $50,000 a night. When he was checking out, I just stood quietly at the front desk, looking at him. I wasn't suffering, nor was I tired. Caleb and I locked eyes. He looked embarrassed. "I was afraid to tell you before because I thought you'd feel too much pressure being with me." Me? I pointed at myself in disbelief. "Me? Do I look like someone with that much pride? If you had told me you were rich from the start, you wouldn't have had to chase me for over a year." Not many people knew Caleb and I were dating. After his friends saw us that day, word somehow reached the Davis family. And that's how I met the head of the Davis family, Caleb's older brother, Arthur Davis. The two brothers looked about 70% alike. When Arthur looked down at me, his oppressive and heavy aura made me shudder. He told me to break up with Caleb. Last night, he sent me a video. In the video, he and Caleb were sitting across from each other. Compared to the still boyish Caleb, his older brother was clearly more mature and composed. When Arthur spoke, his voice was unhurried, every word striking right at the heart. "I heard you and Emma met in college. You chased her for a long time, and she always had a terrible temper. But the moment she found out who you really are, she suddenly became completely obedient." His implication was obvious. Gold digger, hypocrite, compromising herself for money. Caleb quickly retorted, "She's not like that." His tone was hasty, lacking confidence. He was just eager to defend me. But deep down, even Caleb didn't fully believe his own words. Compared to an old fox like Arthur, Caleb was out of his depth. Seeing Caleb take the bait, Arthur couldn't help but smirk. "Is that so? Then why don't we put on a little show? You fake amnesia after this car accident and ignore her. Let's see how she reacts." The video ended there. What was happening now left no doubt. Caleb had agreed to play along. The expression on Caleb's face changed rapidly, like his brain was buffering from an overload of information. "Want an apple? Your sister-in-law will peel one for you." $5 million was definitely tempting, but the fact that you two brothers were playing me for a fool really pissed me off. Hearing me call myself sister-in-law made Caleb's face turn green with anger. He opened his mouth, clearly wanting to interrogate me, but stopped himself at the last second. He still had to maintain his amnesia persona. If he broke character now, he'd only be shooting himself in the foot. He feigned composure, but tears welled up uncontrollably in his eyes, and his voice was choked with emotion. I think my brother is single." I smiled and waved my hand dismissively. "You have amnesia. It's normal that you don't remember your brother having a girlfriend." Caleb pressed his fingers hard against his temples, sounding